We're going to run some clock, or maybe throw the dagger. Hurts going deep for it all. Devontae Smith! He has got it! Touchdown! Hits one in the air, left center field. Back it goes. Harper, the swing of his life!
And on looks to Connecting. In front, they scored! Who else? Matvey Michkov for the overtime winner! 3-2 your final! Michkov magic in overtime!
The Knicks up by 3. 10 seconds left in game 5. Maxey fires! He's got it! Tie game! 8.1 to play!
What's up, everyone? My name is Keith Walsh. Welcome to the very first episode of the Philly Phan Cave Podcast. Why? Why am I doing this again? Probably the third podcast I've started. Well, main reason, I'm bored. I'm fucking bored, okay? Want to do something that keeps me entertained outside of work and outside of drinking and gambling. So, we're back, doing another podcast. Plus, it's an exciting time to be a Philadelphia sports fan. There's a lot of good things going on. Well, if you're watching the Phillies game going on Wednesday night right now, not a lot of good things. But we'll get to that. The defending Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles, kick off their season tonight. Hopefully you're listening to this on Thursday morning. But they kick off their season against the Dallas Cowboys. We're defending champs. The Birds are back, going up against their biggest rival. We're hanging a banner in Jerry Jones's face. The Flyers have Matvey Michkov. They had added Trevor Zegras this offseason. Still need a goalie, but there's plenty of things there. Flyers are on the up and up. The Phillies are making their way towards another October push. Should be a very serious World Series contender if they can figure out the pitching and if the lineup can stay consistent. The Union, I'm not even a big soccer guy, but the Philadelphia Union just clinched a playoff berth. There's a lot of good things going on in the city of Philadelphia when it comes to their sports teams. I'm a Philly fan, 4 for 4. Like I said, not a soccer guy, but hey, the Union are in the playoffs. I'll root for them. What do I got to lose? Notice how I did not mention the Sixers in that, because there is not really many good things going on there. They would rank 4 out of 4 when it comes to my rankings of the Philly sports teams. Who knows if Embiid is ever going to be healthy again. Paul George is 97 years old. He should be playing in a retirement home. They drafted VJ Edgecombe. He should hopefully, maybe he'll be good. Who knows? I don't know. Tyrese Maxey, he's great. Other than that, I couldn't tell you anything exciting going on about the Sixers. So I will say, if you're trying to look for Sixers coverage, I'm not your guy. There's not going to be much talk about them in this podcast unless good things start happening for them. But let's reel it back in here. You got a little bit of a breakdown of how I think about Philly sports so far, what's going on. This first episode, we're going off the cuff here. It's just a trial run to see what works, what doesn't, what you people like, what you don't. Today, the topics. Like I said, Birds are back. Birds Cowboys tonight. If you're listening to this Thursday, we have Phillies going on against the Brewers right now. Big series of the Mets coming up next week. Trying to clinch the division, trying to secure their postseason berth, trying to, get over that hump, get back to the World Series. So today's topics, I know, again, I'm going to be off the cuff here. We're going to be off the rails a lot. It's just me. If anyone else wants to join in, feel free to reach out because I'm open to looking for a co-host. But for now, you're stuck with me, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, don't listen. I don't care. Anyway, back to today's topics on today's show. This show, episode 1, Philly Phan Cave Podcast. We're going to talk about the Birds. We're going to get a little season preview of them. We're going to talk about the Phillies postseason push coming up here. We're going to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers a little bit because there's some news there that some people want to hear, some people don't want to hear. There's some controversial topics going on with the Flyers. We'll get to it. And finally, we'll talk about some of the national stuff going on. College football being back. We'll mention the Union again, making the playoffs. And then finally, we will get to, if you've been following along with the blog, following along on my social medias, we will get to Walsh's winners for this weekend with the NFL being back, college football. You can get Probably by the time you listen to this, you should be able to see all of Walsh's winners for the weekend, 2 separate blog posts, one for the NFL, one for college football. Both should be out on the blog by the time you hear this. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you're following along on the blog. That's where I post a lot more of my thoughts. This podcast, I'm thinking maybe once a week for now. We'll see what happens, see how it goes. Once a week, maybe once every other week. I don't know. We're going to see how I'm feeling about it, see how many important topics come up, and we'll go from there. So let's get into it. Let's get into the birds. Super Bowl champions. A fantastic season last year. No complaints. Everything was great, especially the fact that we were up 40-6 in the Super Bowl at one point. 24-0 at the half. I just finished watching America's Game. Brilliantly done by the NFL Network. You got to see a side of Jalen Hurts that we don't really see. That was pretty cool, pretty interesting. And just hearing all the stories about last year, bringing it to, it felt like a great ending. America's Game, I feel all wrapped up now. I can put last year behind me like the Eagles already have. We're moving on. We're closing the door. It's a new season, and it starts Thursday night against those hated Dallas Cowboys. We're raising a banner in Jerry Jones's face. Does it get much better than that? And I know people have already, I've been seeing it online. People are like, oh, Sirianni, talking about, the Eagles moved on. Whatever. Yeah, no, that's exactly how it should be. People are complaining that, listen, we know Nicky is a cornball. He's a cornball. That's fine. He's our head coach. He just won a Super Bowl. He can be as corny as he wants. I'm fine with it. The Eagles, he doesn't want the players out there on the field for raising the banner. Fine by me. The players don't want to be out there because they, like I said, have put this in the past and have moved forward and are focused on the Dallas Cowboys. So let's talk about it. Dallas coming into Philly, banner night. They no longer have Micah Parsons. Jerry Jones is off his rocker. Jerry Jones decided, I don't want to pay one of the best defensive players in the NFL. So I am going to trade him within the NFC to a defense that's already pretty solid in the Green Bay Packers. Let them pay him and let him go be a great player on another team because I don't want to pay. So thank you, Jerry Jones, for being an old, miserable idiot and giving away your best defensive player and then paying Duron Bland, or whatever you say his first name, however much money you just paid him, and you're going to see him get absolutely torched on Thursday night by the Philadelphia Eagles offense. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. I'm going to even say this, Jahan Dotson may have a career game Thursday night. If Duron Bland is covering him at all, we're going to see the Eagles receivers go off on this Dallas Cowboys secondary, and I can't wait. It is going to be an incredible banner night. I am excited for it. Sure, Cowboys still a decent offense, Dak's back. Good for him. They added George Pickens. They still have CeeDee Lamb. Still don't really have a run game. Miles Sanders, is that what we're going with? I mean, their offensive line always is usually very good. Give them credit there. But I mean, come on. We're talking about a defending Super Bowl champion defense. My guy, Vic Fangio. The only thing that concerns me with the Eagles defense is a little bit the secondary still. Obviously, we got Coop, we got Reed back there. We're still not sure yet because Nick or Vic Fangio refused to say who was going to be the starting safety and the other corner. Looks like it's going to be Adoree Jackson and Sidney Brown, which is fine. Is it going to be great? We'll see. Last year, we didn't know what to expect with Zach Bond, and he ended up being an all-pro. Plus, up front, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. What more do you need? Those guys are going to wreak havoc on the front, and we've seen it. We saw it last year. They're going to do it again this year. And if you didn't, go to the Eagles social media, go watch the little 5-6 minute mini video they put out, mini movie. It was put out yesterday, so Wednesday afternoon, they put it out on their socials. And go watch that and just listen to what some of these players are talking in the video. It's a great video, short clip, 5 minutes, and it's all about toughness, right? And one of the big takeaways I had from that video, Nolan Smith. Look, we know he wasn't a huge guy, but man, did he play his ass off last year for us? And in the Super Bowl, And one of the clips in the video, if you haven't watched it yet, he goes on there and he says, like, man, they told me I tore my tricep and they said, you probably shouldn't play the rest of the game. This was in the Super Bowl. If you didn't know that, he tore his tricep in the Super Bowl. He says, get me a brace. You're not taking me out of this game. I'm going back in there. I'm finishing this Super Bowl with a torn bicep. And what's he do? Forces a fumble. He's an absolute dog. Give me Nolan Smith. He's a psychopath. Give me this guy on my team, any team. I love the guy. Gives you a whole new perspective on him. And look, him, Zach Bond, you're going to see a lot probably of Jeremiah Trotter Jr. this year. Maybe. I don't know, what we're going to get out of him, but I think we'll see a lot of him. Jahad Campbell, didn't even mention him yet. First round draft pick. He looks great. Hopefully, another guy that fell to the Eagles and Howie doing another Howie thing, taking an SEC Alabama linebacker who maybe had a little bit of a health issue. Turns out he's going to be perfectly fine for the start of the season, and he's hopefully going to crush it and be an absolute steal for the Birds this season. Obviously, Quinion Mitchell, Reed Blankenship, and Coop back in the secondary. Like I said, the only concerns I really have would be Adoree Jackson and Sidney Brown. We don't know what to expect from them. We kind of do, but we don't. I'm hoping they hopefully, like I say, will pleasantly surprise us, but I'm not 100% sure that I believe that's going to be the case. Offense, the offense is going to be just as good, if not better, than it was last year. I'm going to say it now. I already have a future bet on it. Jalen Hurts is going to have an MVP-like season this year. We saw it from Saquon last year. He ended up winning MVP. Ended up winning Offensive Player of the Year. Not MVP. Should have won MVP, in my opinion. This year, it's going to be Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to have an MVP-type season, and I can't wait for it. Saquon back for another year. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, already mentioned them. Dallas Goedert coming back on a team-friendly deal. The offensive line, still in great shape. Tyler Steen may be the only question mark, but I'm confident that this Eagles offense will be just as good, if not better, than it was last year. And I believe it's going to start with Jalen Hurts. It's going to start on Thursday night against the Cowboys, and he's going to absolutely crush it. Looking forward to it. Can't wait for that. Thursday night, I am so excited that the Birds are back. I'm so excited the fact that we get to raise a banner in Jerry Jones's face and hopefully blow them out. That would just be the icing on the cake. If they raise the banner at the beginning of the night and we end the night with an absolute just pounding of the Dallas Cowboys. Give me like a 56-0 win. Run the score up. Absolutely bury these clowns. That's how much I hate Dallas, even coming off a Super Bowl win. So hopefully that's what happens Thursday night. Other than that, look, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough season. We play a lot of good teams this year. In these first few weeks, like I said, Thursday night Cowboys. Next week we got the Chiefs. Week after that we got the Rams. Then we got the Bucks. Then we get the Broncos. And then we're into October with the Giants and Vikings, and then the Giants again. And then in November, first game, Monday Night Football against the Packers. So that's just the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. And the 10th game against the Lions. That is 10 tough games to start the season. There's only 17 of them. So it's going to be very quickly, we're going to find out what this Eagles team is coming off the Super Bowl, because it's not going to be an easy road. There's a lot of tough games this season, and who knows? Maybe it'll be just we'll smooth sailing. Would love that, Maybe we'll just make these teams all look easy peasy. Do I think that's going to be the case? No, it's going to be difficult. There's definitely going to be some stressful moments, as there are every season, but still think this is a team that it's Super Bowl or bust again. Very realistic chance of going back to back. And I think it's probably the first time we can really say that. Obviously, after the 2017 one, we thought we were going to be better. And, maybe we're an Alshon Jeffrey drop away from going back to back. at least getting to a second consecutive Super Bowl there. But I don't think that team was as good as last year's Eagles team, and I don't think that team is as good as this year's Eagles team either. So I think this season is probably the best chance that we have of ever going back-to-back when it comes to Super Bowls. So we'll see what happens there. Like I said, going to be a tough year, but confident in the Birds. My official record prediction, I'm going to go 13-4. Maybe a little overconfident, but 13 wins. I think this team can win 13 games based on the schedule, based on how good I think they're going to be. And, I think everyone stays healthy, knock on wood. Could be a 14-win team. Could be a 15-win team. Could be a 16-win team. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Excited to get things going Thursday night against the boys. And yeah, it's football season. We finally made it. Took a while, but we are back. Football is back, and it's one of the best times of the year, if not the best time of year. Now let's get to my players to watch for this upcoming season. There's not many because we have a lot of returning guys, so I'm only going to give you probably 2 or 3 here. One on offense to start, and that's going to be Will Shipley. Will Shipley is officially the number 2 running back on the Eagles depth chart. Saquon coming off 2,000 yards last year, 300 plus carries. We don't need all that from him. He's 28 years old. Running backs don't have the longevity, and I posted this on the blog about why the Eagles should limit his snap count. Not a snap count, but his touches this year. He doesn't need to carry the ball that much. We saw what Will Shipley can do in a very limited role, granted, but we saw the explosiveness that he has, the elusiveness that he can have, and, just what he can add to this offense as a great secondary running back to Saquon Barkley. So Will Shipley, I think the more we get him involved this year, the more it'll help Saquon out, the more our offense will be even more dynamic than it already is. So Will Shipley, my one guy on offense to really keep an eye out for this year, because like I said, I just think he's going to have a great second year and is really going to help this Eagles offense even be better than it was last year. On the defensive side, main guy I'm watching out for, Jahad Campbell. It's obvious. He's the number 1 draft pick, first round pick. He's going to be involved early. He's going to be involved often. He was great in college, and it just would be poetic in a way if another top caliber talent coming out of college falls all the way to the Eagles at the end of the first round, and they scoop him up, and he's just an absolute stud. It would just be so poetic, and really could not hope for anything else for that to happen. But yeah, Jahad Campbell, keep your eye out for him. You should already know him if you're an Eagles fan, and I think it is going to be just an absolute great rookie season for him. The other guy that I'm very interested to see this year, and we're not going to see a lot of him, it's the role is already taken over by Jordan Davis. Ty Robinson out of Nebraska, defensive tackle, another rookie coming in his first year. 4th round pick, big dude, 6'5", 288. I just feel like he's another one of those guys that can kind of just step in and fill a role, give Jordan Davis a little bit of a break. But I feel like he's just someone that's going to come in here and just be hard-nosed, gritty, and just get into the quarterback. And we're going to hear his name kind of a lot more than I think people realize. And he's going to be one of those guys, wow, Eagles got him in the 4th round. Like, this dude's a stud. Just from some of the things I've seen on him, even watching the preseason games, he looks like he can get out there and just cause havoc. And I love that. And I think he's going to be a solid addition. Again, he's going to be in a limited role. Well aware of that, but I think he's going to be a name that we start hearing a little bit more and more as the season goes on. So keep your eye on Ty Robinson. Like I said, Jahad Campbell, and then back to the offense, Will Shipley. Those are the 3 guys that I'm most excited to see what they can do this year. Obviously, 2 of them being rookies, and with Will Shipley, his second year coming in, looking forward to really what he can add to the offense, because there's really not much competition behind him. A.J. Dillon's the 3rd running back. Doesn't really do much for me. He's a bigger dude, so Maybe he'll get some touches here and there, but I mean, Will Shipley is the guy after Saquon Barkley, and it'll be nice to see a little change of pace with Will and see what he's able to do and provide to this offense as we progress throughout the season here. Now let's get to what is never a fun thing to talk about, is the concerns that we might have for the upcoming season. Sure, I could be the overzealous, everything's great. There are no concerns with this Eagles team. But I'm not that type of fan. I'm not. I try to be as realist as possible when it comes to that type of stuff. I'm not going to go out and say there's a lot of concerns, because there's not. If you look at just the basis of my concerns, first things first, the new offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore no longer here. It's fine. It's not like we haven't had a different coordinator before. Jalen Hurts has gone through this. It's not new to him. So if I was ranking this in like a concern out of 10, my concern with a new offensive coordinator is only like a 3. So it's not very high, but it is a concern. Like, we really don't know what Kevin Patullo can do. We haven't really seen much of it yet. Like, obviously, we've seen a little bit in the preseason, but 3 preseason games, you don't see much out of that. So a new offense coordinator, hopefully we're not complaining too much about him. Hopefully we kind of forget that he is there. That would be the goal. If I was a new offensive coordinator coming to a Super Bowl winning team, I would want to come in and make sure no one knows my name. Or at least make sure no one knows my names for the wrong reasons. If the offense is struggling, we don't want to see that. So hopefully he comes in here, Eagles offense doesn't miss a beat from last season, and we're blowing teams out left and right. That would be the ideal situation. Is it going to happen? We'll find out. But so put that on your list of concerns for me, but put it low. It's not high. Another concern would probably be, if I had to pick between a couple things here, probably the secondary. Adoree Jackson, we've seen him be bad. So there's Adoree Jackson back there. Sidney Brown as a starting safety. Don't love that. Again, I don't want to say, I'm trying not to be too concerned about it before the start of the season. We haven't played a game yet. Nothing to be concerned about. Game 1, Thursday night. Now, if they go out on Thursday night and get absolutely torched, then my concern level is going to be higher. So I put Kevin Patullo, new offensive coordinator, at about 3 or 4. I'm going to put the secondary, and this is mainly just Adoree Jackson and Sidney Brown. I'm going to put that at about a 6. That's a 6 for me when it comes to that level of concern. My biggest concern, and I'm not going to go full 10, because I'm not going to put anything like that out there. My biggest concern is there being, I don't want to say Super Bowl hangover, because I think that's played out. You know what I mean? Everyone says, oh, well, teams that win Super Bowl, we've seen teams, the Chiefs, perfect example. They've gone to plenty of Super Bowls recently in the last few years. We really don't see a Super Bowl hangover for them. It's just the injury concern. Like, last year, most of the Eagles players stayed healthy. We didn't have too many big injuries. Football's a physical game. Injuries are going to happen. If we can avoid any big injuries again, great. My level 9 concern is one big injury, whether it be a key offensive player, I'm not going to name any names, or a key defensive player. If any of that happens, this team is going to have a very drastic new look if somebody big gets hurt. So obviously, that is my main concern, is injuries. Other than that, like I said, I mentioned the secondary with Adoree Jackson and Sidney Brown. Other than that, though, I'm really not too much concerned about this Eagles team going forward. I mean, there's a lot of excitement around this team. It's Super Bowl or bust again. So let's just go back to back. Let's just have fun. Let's have this season just be an absolute blast. Could you imagine? Just every week, living stress-free, winning another Super Bowl come February. I can't think of anything better. I really can't. So hopefully that's the case. That's going to put a bow on our Eagles season preview. We're going to hopefully blow out the Cowboys Thursday night and be on our way to defending our Super Bowl title. And I can't wait for it. Now, let's get to a team that is in the mix of a playoff push. They're frustrating to watch at times. Philadelphia Phillies. I got the game on right now. Like I said, it's Wednesday night. They're playing the Brewers. I'm trying not to get too angry about how the game started. It's a major concern. Aaron Nola, it's been a concern all year. I don't want him pitching in the playoffs. I really don't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he's had success in the playoffs. I don't want to see him. The way that he's pitched all year, just put him on the shelf. I don't need him. I don't need to see him. All right? You got Jesus Luzardo. You got Christopher Sanchez. You got Ranger. Those three guys right there, in whatever order, to me, it doesn't even matter. Your game's 1, 2, and 3 starters. That is your starting rotation for the postseason. Obviously, the news broke last couple days. They went out and signed Walker Buehler, who has struggled this year. Maybe a change of scenery is needed for him, and maybe he'll come in here and be exactly what the Phillies need. I mean, he did pitch in the World Series last year and closed out the Yankees for the Dodgers. So he brings a lot of experience, a lot of postseason experience. I think it's a big factor. But, I mean, still leading the division. We are into the final month. They're in a great spot. They are in a very great spot. It's just the fact that it seems very similar to the Phillies teams that we've seen in the past. Obviously, them making the World Series in 2022 didn't get the job done against the Astros. And what happened? The bats went cold. The bats went cold at the worst time. They were getting the great pitching. They couldn't get the key hits when they needed to. Fast forward 2023. What happens? NLCS. Bats go cold in Game 7 of the NLCS against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Got the pitching. Got great pitching again. The bats went cold. Fast forward to this season. I skipped over last year because I don't even... Bringing up the series against the Mets is just bad memories. I don't even want to talk about it. So we're going to skip that like it didn't even happen and bring up where we're at this year. Bats have looked great all year for the most part. Obviously, throughout the season, it's been going like a typical Phillies season. The bats go hot and cold, hot and cold. The pitching's been great for the most part, besides Aaron Nola. Well, you're now going to be going into the postseason without Zach Wheeler. Nola, who, what version of Aaron Nola are we going to get come playoff time? And when do you even pitch it? Because I confidently could say right now that there is not a single scenario as of this recording, and it's September, the beginning of September. There's not a single scenario that I want Aaron Nola on the mound in the postseason. Perfect example, this game against the Brewers. First inning, 5 runs. So, what the actual fuck, Nola? He was injured for a little bit, came back, and he's looked even worse since he came back. I didn't think it was possible, but he's looked worse since he's gotten back. So, I don't want him there. I really don't. I don't want to see him in the playoffs. I don't want to see him pitch. He's been absolutely horrible. Now, if we're getting Kyle Schwarber, who is going to have a 4 home run game every night in the postseason, then yeah, sure, go ahead, throw Nola out there. You can give up 5 or 6 runs. So let's talk about that. Kyle Schwarber, contract year. Absolutely incredible. He has carried this team from the start of the season. If there's ever been a guy that's been getting big hits throughout the year, it has been him. And I know we're paying Bryce Harper $330 million. We're paying Trey Turner $300 million. I got no complaints about either of those guys. But Kyle Schwarber has been the MVP of not only the Phillies, he has been the MVP of the National League as well. And the Phillies have now probably cost themselves some money when it comes to Kyle Schwarber, because if they would have signed him a little bit earlier, probably aren't going to be paying as much as they're going to be paying a lot more than they would have been had they signed him earlier, before he hit, at this point, 49 home runs. Still has not got to 50 yet, but he will be there. So yeah, I mean, Kyle Schwarber, the MVP of the Phillies, he's been the MVP of the National League. Will he get it? I don't know. I feel like it's going to be Ohtani again, because he pitches and bats. It's just, the MLB trying to push Shohei Ohtani down everyone's throat. But Kyle Schwarber deserves it. Hopefully he gets it, but we'll see what happens there. Obviously, a week ago, getting swept by the Mets in New York. Very frustrating. Go into that series up 7 games in the division, lose all 3. Now you're down to a 4-game lead. But what do the Phillies do? They do exactly what the Phillies do. They come in, they come back home, and they take 3 out of 4 from the Atlanta Braves. And even the first game against the Brewers, Monday, Labor Day, an absolute wild game. I forgot the final score. I think it was 11-10, whatever the case. I'll look it up. But just a back and forth game. A lot of runs. They got down early again and fought back. Very, very important win. The Brewers obviously sitting pretty in the MLB standings right now, and are going to be a team that the Phillies may have to play in the playoffs. And they prove that, hey, even when we're down against them, we can come back and we can still beat this team. It's going to be a team they're going to have to probably see in the playoffs. 10-8 was the final on Monday, by the way. Sorry, I was looking that up. By the way, if you're watching this, listening to it, whatever, I appreciate you. If you are listening to this will be uploaded to YouTube, so you will be able to see my gorgeous face. Whether, you think I have a face for radio or not, you'll be able to see it on the YouTube, and maybe even on Spotify if you're listening on there. I don't know how their podcasts work with the video, but whatever. So, back to the Phillies. Brewer series, Monday, back and forth game. Phils end up pulling out the win. Let's talk about a guy that has been severely underrated this year. Granted, not the best outfielder, but he has been a lot better than I think he gets credit for. Brandon Marsh went 3 for 4, if not more, maybe 4 for 5 on Monday's game. But he has had an absolute fantastic year. 4 for 5, Brandon Marsh went with an RBI and scoring 2 runs himself. He's really been kind of very solid at the plate. Like, I'm not going to sit here and, say this guy is the best option that the Phillies have to put out in center field or left field or wherever they're going to put him in the outfield. But, I mean, I will take him in the starting lineup over Max Kepler or Wes Wilson. Johan Rojas, I'll take him over those 3. Harrison Bader has been a very great addition since coming over since the trade deadline. He's going to be the starting center fielder, and he deserves it. He has played great since he's gotten here, and I don't think I would want anybody else in that position other than maybe Brandon Marsh. But that means you're putting either Kepler or Wilson out in left field. Don't want that come the playoffs. So give me Bader in left, Marsh in center, and Nicky C out in right. That's your postseason lineup right there. That's your postseason outfield, and I think we're going to be very pleasantly surprised by Brandon Marsh come October. And we've already seen him have some big moments in October for the Phillies. So, I'm looking forward to what he can do. Is he an everyday center fielder? No, he's not. That's okay. But he's doing exactly what he needs to do. And since he really struggled in April, since May, the guy has been fantastic. So just go look up his numbers since May. Obviously got off to a rough start to the season, but hey, since then, my guy has been perfectly fine and has been a solid option for the Phillies out in the outfield and even at the plate. So I think we need to give Brandon Marsh a little more credit than he has been getting. And hopefully, he rewards us with some big hits over these next few weeks. And hopefully into next month in October, we're talking about a big Brandon Marsh home run in like game 2 or 3 of the NLDS or something like that. So let's give Marshy his credit. Sick beard, sick hair, and now turning into be a pretty sick baseball player. That wraps up our Phillies talk. Now, let's get to my favorite topic when it comes to Philadelphia sports. The Philadelphia Flyers. Let's get back to the Flyers. Those of you that do not know me, the Flyers are number one. They are number one. If you cannot tell by the background of the flag and the Flyers up here and the tickets from the Stadium Series out in Pittsburgh, also the one from Philly. I love the Philadelphia Flyers almost more than I love life itself. They have been bad over the last few years. It has been devastating to me. It has been not fun to watch. I have seen coaches come and go. I've seen them waste one of the all-time greatest players in Flyers history, Claude Giroux's career. I've seen a GM, multiple GMs, come in and have no idea what the hell they're doing. Starting with Ron Hextall, who great Flyers goaltender. Horrible GM. The man who will not be named on this show ruined this organization. Needed to be replaced, finally was replaced, and now we are slowly but surely coming back. The Philadelphia Flyers are coming back. President Keith Jones, those were his words. The Philadelphia Flyers are coming back. GM Danny Briere. Those two together. Mwah, chef's kiss. I know people have been frustrated with how slowly, I guess, this rebuild has gone, which I get it. Look, I grew up, the Flyers were never as bad as they have been over the last, let's say, 5 years. They're coming back. They're making the moves. It took time. We were digging out of cap hell. We were getting rid of bad contracts. We were changing the culture in the locker room from the previous resume and all the damage that was done. And now we are here. We have our Russian superstar, Matvei Mishkov. Fantastic rookie year. They went out and they finally made a big move. They finally made a big move that everyone's been clamoring for. Trevor Zegras is now a Philadelphia Flyer. Last year, they drafted Jet Lutchenko, a pick that people were, I don't know. Then we watched some play and we're like, oh, this kid's actually got some talent. Yeah, he does. He's going to be great. Very well could make the team out of training camp this year. And I'm already going off on a rant about the Philadelphia Flyers. That's not what I wanted to do. But this is what happens when I start talking hockey, start talking the Flyers. So if you want to know about my true love, you're listening to it right now. This is how I talk about them. I will have more of an in-depth preview of the Philadelphia Flyers come probably the end of this month as we get closer and closer to opening night. The main reason I wanted to talk about the Flyers today, obviously to mention the Zegras trade and how I think they are on the up and up, and they are going to be a borderline playoff team this year. However, they have been in the news, and this is a very, very controversial topic. I'm not trying to stir the pot. I'm not trying to do anything like that, but this is a very controversial topic. For those of you that don't know about the Hockey Canada investigation involving players from the 2018 World Junior team, go check that out on your own time. Form your own opinions. Do your own research. I'm not here to tell you about that. What I am here to tell you about is that the 5 players involved were all acquitted of the charges. One of those 5 players on the team in 2018 involved in the lawsuit, court case, whatever you want to call it, in the scandal, was Philadelphia Flyers goaltender Carter Hart. Once he was named, he was put on an indefinite leave of absence from the team back in 2024. Did not play, did not get paid until everything was sorted out within the court. They were found acquitted of everything over the summer. And now there are talks, and this is not just me saying this. Go, again, do your own research. There are sources within the Flyers organization and outside of the Flyers organization that have already said the Philadelphia Flyers are one of the many teams, whether you want to believe it or not, it is true. Philadelphia Flyers are one of the many teams that are interested in bringing in Carter Hart. It all will depend on how the NHL goes about reinstating these players. Are they going to be suspended? What are the contracts going to have to look like? How is it going to be handled? Are the teams going to get first, the teams that they were on to get first dibs? All of that stuff's being figured out right now. The NHL and the NHLPA are currently talking and negotiating on how to go about bringing these 5 players back into the league potentially. So teams are doing their due diligence, and Carter Hart to the Philadelphia Flyers, I don't even say to the Philadelphia, coming back to the Philadelphia Flyers makes sense. Whether you want to like that or not, it makes sense. Yes, I know the Flyers have a lot of goaltending, but they don't have a lot of good goaltending. Going into the season with Sam Ersson and newly signed Dan Vlader, however the hell you say his last name, and either Ivan Fedotov or Alexei Kolosov, that doesn't really do anything. That's not saying we're a team that is now taking that next step of our rebuild, because that's not, those 5 goaltenders don't do anything. They don't move the needle. They're not putting you over the hump to make the playoffs and be better than some of the other teams that are also in a similar stage as you to take that step into the playoffs. Those goaltenders aren't doing that. And look, I get it. Carter Hart hasn't played hockey professionally since January of 2024. But when he did play, was he a top 5 goaltender in the NHL? No. Was he a top 10 goaltender in the NHL? I think he was right on the cusp of that. The point is, he was good enough to get this team to the playoffs. He was good enough back then to get to that team probably to the playoffs. Now he's coming into would be coming in to a new locker room, a new culture of, some players that were here during his original stint, but a lot of new faces. And I think a much better defensive team in front of him. Now, he could come back and be absolute dog shit. He could. And you know what? That's fine. I would rather the Philadelphia Flyers take a chance and bring in a guy that we know what his potential was on like a 1-year, hey, prove that you can still play at an NHL level and prove that you could actually still be the goaltender that we thought you were going to be, all personal shit aside. And again, I'm not going to get into that at all. This situation, the investigate. I'm not going to get into any of that. What happened. We don't know all of the actual details other than what came out. What we do know is that they were acquitted of the charges. I'm not defending him, not defending any of them or what happened. I'm strictly talking hockey when it comes to this. I would rather the Flyers bring him back on a 1-year prove-it deal and see what you get with a combination of Carter Hart, Sam Ersson. Give me those two. And sure, if you want to throw in Dan Vladar, like, he wasn't bad in Calgary, but he's not a number 1 goaltender, and he's not really a great number 2 goaltending option either. Like, when I saw the signing of him, it was like, cool. Like, are we trying to lose more games? Because I thought we were past that stage of the rebuild. So, whether you like it or not, when the time comes, and seems like it is going to be rather soon that we hear from the NHL in regards to the 5 players involved in that investigation on how/when they will be reinstated, and if they will be suspended to start the season or whatever the case may be of any sort. It'll be very soon that we find out the final ruling on that. And when the time comes, do not be surprised if the Philadelphia Flyers show Carter Hart the interest, because they are already interested in him. It's going to come down to whether or not Carter Hart wants to come back to Philadelphia. Like I said, the information on the lawsuit's out there. Would he want to come back to a city that is very hard to play in to begin with, and then having this attached to him now? There's going to be part of the fan base that's going to be absolutely disgusted and livid and freak out about it. And I can tell you right now, it seems like there's a good portion of the fan base that's actually very much on board with bringing him back. And again, if you follow along with the blog, I wrote about it, have gotten some comments, and have seen the way people have reacted to that blog. And it really is more of a, I would say probably like 60-40 split, with people being in favor of bringing Carter Hart back than not. So there's that. We very well could see Carter Hart in a Philadelphia Flyers jersey again this season coming up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So again, make sure you're following along with the blog. Make sure you're following me on social media. Make sure you're following the Philly Phan Cave Podcast on X, the Everything app, on YouTube, TikTok. We're on all of it. Just follow all the socials for your guy. All right, help me out here. Let's help grow my following a little bit. All right, even if you don't like me, just toss me a little follow. You know, hate watch me, hate listen, hate view, whatever. Like, I don't care. I love haters. Hate me all you want. Just help me out. Give me some views. You know, I'm not asking for much. You don't have to like the content. Just click on it. Help me out a little bit. Next, so that'll wrap up the Flyers talk. And don't worry, if you thought that was a lot, just wait until the season starts. I'll tell you right now, if you're not a Flyers fan, there's going to be a lot of Flyers talk on this podcast. I promise you that. Even when they're not going to be the main topic of Philadelphia sports, there is going to be a lot of Flyers talk on this podcast. So get that out of the way here in episode 1. Figure that out. And make sure you stay following along. Now let's get to some of the national headlines. College football's back. If you don't know me, I'm a Notre Dame fan. So while this is the Philly Phan Cave podcast, I don't really care about any of the Philly college teams. I mean, Temple football, not great. Probably never will be. Don't like Penn State one bit. So if you're a Penn State fan listening to this, sorry, don't like you. Not that I don't like you. I don't like Penn State. That's all. So yeah, Notre Dame guy here. We experienced a tough loss on Sunday night against Miami. Still ranked number 9 in the polls, even though being 0-1. Great game though. Great game. Even if you're not a fan, if you're just a fan of college football, it's a great game to watch. 2 top 10 teams going at it. Miami looks good. They look real good. Carson Beck, I was kind of a hater of him a little bit when he was at Georgia. And even now, going into the game, I was like, this dude's nothing. He looked decent. He really did. And I think with Miami, it's he's going to have that team. They look like a playoff team right now. I know it's only been 1 game. They look and have the makes of everything you need to be in the college football playoff. Malachi Toney, the receiver, looks fantastic. He's going to be a problem to guard whoever is in the ACC going up against him. Good luck. But yeah, unfortunately, my Irish could not pull it out. Defensive line didn't look great. Couldn't get pressure on the quarterback really all night. The O-line did not help my guy CJ Carr out one bit. I mean, props to CJ Carr for looking as good as he actually did in that game. 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, a very, very bad luck interception. What I didn't love, and again, if you're not a Notre Dame fan, my apologies. I am. It's my podcast. That's what I want to talk about. So, suck it. What I didn't like was Jeremiah Love only getting 10 carries. I mean, he's one of the best running backs in the nation. He got 10 carries the entire game. That's not enough. Feed the man. So in week 2, I'm looking to see that. Well, I should say week 3 because Notre Dame is on bye this weekend. But when they come back, it's not very easy for them. They do not have an easy schedule to start the season. Okay. We had obviously number 10 ranked Miami. And now on the 13th of September, we got, as of now, 1-0, number 19 ranked Texas A&M coming in to Notre Dame. Other big things around college football for week 1, Alabama. Kalen DeBoer is on the hottest of hot seats. I mean, he could not be on a hotter seat right now. Coming in, replacing Nick Saban, and just absolutely stinking up the place. They lost to Florida State Saturday. I mean, it was just ugly. Ugly performance by Bama. Bama may be dead. Bama may be dead. Florida State may be all the way back. Other big things from Saturday, LSU taking down Clemson in Clemson. This was shocking to me, not because of the talent that LSU has, more so Brian Kelly winning a big game in primetime. That doesn't happen. So strictly based off of that happening, I think we're going to see LSU go pretty far this year. But ultimately, with Brian Kelly being their head coach, probably lose either in the national championship or in the semifinals of the college football playoff when they should win the national championship. They are a good enough team to win the national title. Brian Kelly's their head coach, so they are not a good enough team. They are not coached well enough to win a national championship. And I may eat my words come January. But, I mean, LSU, I think, very well on-field talent, should be the national champions this season. With Brian Kelly as their head coach, I just don't see it happening. And then finally, really the other big thing was obviously the big noon kickoff game, Texas-Ohio State. Arch Manning did not look like the Arch Manning I think a lot of people thought he was going to look like. Credit to Ohio State's defense. They looked great. Defending national champs for a reason. Boring game for the most part. 14-7 final score. Not what we were looking forward to seeing. But hey, it's college football. This is what happens. It was week 1. Hopefully, going forward, we get nothing but bangers of college football games. Ohio State, they're gonna be a good team again. Hate to admit that, but they are going to be a good team again. Defense looked phenomenal. And I know right now there's a lot of Arch Manning hate going on and, oh, maybe this kid's not that good. We say that, and then what's going to happen? This weekend coming up, granted, I know they're playing some no-name team most likely. Let's see, Texas is going up against, I should have had this pulled up, but we're going, like I said, off the cuff here. And of course, now it's struggling to find it. Hold on. If you're watching this, you get to see it in live real time here. Me trying to find who Texas is playing and it not showing up on the app. So just going to keep having some filler here. Anyway, we're going to see Texas in their next game just absolutely dominate. Okay, they're probably going to win by 50 over some no-name team. They're playing San Jose State. Okay, I just found it. My bad. There we are. Saturday, 12 noon, Arch Manning in Texas hosting San Jose State. Arch Manning's going to throw for like 440 yards, 6 TDs, and Texas is going to win like 65-0. And we're going to be like, holy shit, this is the Arch Manning we were waiting for. We didn't get to see that last week. Here we are now, watching it in live time. So if you're hating on Arch Manning now, I get it because he looked very bad. last week. And if you took the big Lewalski that I put out there, hand up, that's on me. My bad. I was expecting Arch Manning to look like Arch Manning. He didn't. We lost the big Lewalski 0-1. But, great segue by me, because our next topic, Walsh's winners. Yes, I just gave myself a round of applause for that. Walsh's winners, not one this week. You get two. And you're going to get two going forward this season. Why? Because not only are we doing college football, we do the NFL as well. So, like I said, the big Lewalski last week did not hit. Okay? We had Texas money line. It didn't work. Didn't hit. I tweeted out that may have been the first and last big Lewalski. I lied. The big Lewalski's back. Okay, we're back. There's going to be another one, and it starts Thursday night. The next big Lewalski pick. Hope you're listening, and I hope you listen to this when it comes out, or else you're going to miss it. You won't miss it, though, if you're following me on social media, because the play will be there as well. The big Lewalski for this week, we go to the NFL. Give me the Cowboys and Eagles over 47.5 at -110. Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys, points, over 47.5, -110. Thursday night, the big Lewalski hits. Mark it down. Now, to the rest of Walsh's winners. If you're not following along the blog, like I said, you can see all the picks there. I'm going to go through most of them for you as well. Not going to give you my straight picks. So this is how I do it for the NFL. The NFL, I do two columns. I pick every game. I just pick who I think's going to win. Then my Walsh's winners are spread and money line and over-under picks. Those are the games that I'm most confident in for the week. Week 1 of the NFL. Here we go. Walsh's winners. First up. Friday night, we are taking the Chargers +3, -106 versus the Chiefs. Next up, we're going to Sunday. We're taking the Raiders and Patriots under 43.5 at -102. Then we are taking the Dolphins money line against the Colts at -102. Then, next up, we have the Panthers and Jaguars. We're taking the Panthers money line at +152. This is a little sprinkle play. I don't know if I fully trust Bryce Young yet, but we're taking the Panthers money line over Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Next, we're taking the Falcons money line over the Buccaneers. Atlanta Falcons money line +112 over the Buccaneers. The Cleveland Browns are going to stink this year. That's not new news or anything. It's pretty much typical of the Cleveland Browns. They're going to be bad again this year. So, hammer Joey B and the Bengals -5.5 at -105. Then we have the over 42.5 in the Broncos-Titans game. That's -110. We're going to take the Texans and CJ Stroud +3 at -115 versus the Rams. We're going to take the Lions and Packers over 47.5 at -105. And we are ending the weekend on Monday with the Chicago Bears money line at +108 over the Minnesota Vikings. Those are your NFL Week 1 Walsh's winners. The blog is already out for that. Make sure you go click on it, give it a read. Let me know if you're fading me, if you're tailing my picks. Let me know if you're going to ride with the big Lewalski this weekend with the bounce back week that it's going to have. And now, let's get to the college football picks. We're going to give you a quick recap of last week. So, obviously, the big Lewalski, no dice. Didn't hit. Unfortunate. Which is why we moved to the NFL for the big Lewalski. However, last weekend for college football, I gave you some solid picks. If you follow along with the blog, you got them. And it started on Thursday night because we had Boise State to go down to South Florida. So You would be up money from that because that was an underdog pick. We really dropped the ball on Alabama minus 13.5 and UCLA plus 6.5. Those were two of our very big misses. So it really wasn't great. Out of the 17 picks, 8 of them hit. You don't love to see that by any means. But I promise, this weekend will be better, and it starts right now. Week 2, college football, Walsh's winners. Here we go. Hope you're ready for it. We start on Saturday. We're taking Iowa money line, plus 130. Lock that in. We're also going to take the over in the Baylor and SMU game. Over 63.5, Baylor SMU, minus 112. You're going to take Texas, minus 36.5. Against San Jose State at minus 110. Then I'm looking at the odds right now, people. All right, looking at the odds, trying to give live updated odds as best as I can here. Saturday 3:30 games. Kansas plus 6.5 against Missouri. That's minus 106. Kansas plus 6.5 against Missouri. I might do this. This is not a confirmed Walsh's winner, but I may end up taking Kansas money line in that game. We will see. Next, we are going to go to the Clemson and Troy game. We are going to take Clemson, bounce back game, minus 33.5, over Troy, minus 110. Clemson, minus 33.5, minus 110. That's another Walsh's winner. We are going to take... I was looking at the South Florida game, and I almost was like, I'm just going to take Florida spread there. But, I mean, how can I pick against South Florida? I can't do it. We're going to stay away from that game. My gut's telling me to stay away. We're going to take Bill Belichick on the road, minus 13.5. North Carolina, UNC versus Charlotte. North Carolina, minus 13.5, minus 110. Then, the big game of the weekend, Michigan, Oklahoma. I'm going to take the over in this game. Give me the over in Michigan, Oklahoma. Over 45.5, minus 105. There you have it. Those are your Saturday college football week 2 Walsh's winners. I may add more. Very well. If you're listening to this podcast when it comes out, there may be more. And you know where you can find them? On the blog. Yes, writing is still a big thing. Blogging is what I do best, okay? As much as I love doing the podcast as well. Follow the blog. You'll get all the content you want there, as well as now you will be getting a most likely weekly podcast episode. So, follow along with the blog, follow the podcast, leave me a like, leave me a comment, whatever you can, share it, tell your friends about it. If you like what you're hearing, you want to see more, if you like what you're seeing. I know the YouTube's probably going to be pretty boring because it's just me talking into a microphone. If you want to come on the show, you want to talk Philly sports with me, let me know. I'm not a tough person to reach. All right? So make sure you're following along on all social medias. The links, the comments will all be where to find everything will be put in the comments of something. It'll all be posted for you to easily click on and click a little button, click follow. All that stuff will be posted for you to find. And if you did sit through this hour-long podcast, wherever you are listening to it, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. Let me know what you thought. And like I said, you have anything you want me to talk about specifically, any topics in the Philadelphia sports world, let me know. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. God, I feel like such a loser when I say that stuff, but it's the name of the game. That's how you end up doing this for a living, which would be nice. Don't get me wrong. Love my job, but doing this full time would be awesome. So help me out. Give me a like, comment, subscribe, follow. Share it with your friends. Let me know your thoughts. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Yes, we're going to shoot for weekly. Okay. And you can hold me to that. Hold me accountable. We're all about accountability here. We're going to shoot for weekly. The podcast will come out on Spotify, hopefully on other platforms. I'm working on trying to get all this situated. All right. Like I said, we're just going with the flow right now with this. But yeah, most importantly, follow along, and I will talk to you guys when I talk to you next week.
Looking to run some clock, or maybe throw the dagger. Hurts, going deep, for it all, Devontae Smith! He has got it! Touchdown! Hits one in the air, left center field, back it goes! Harper, the swing of his life!
And on looks to Konechny. Konechny, in front, they scored! Who else? Matvey Michkov with the overtime winner! 3-2 your final! Michkov magic in overtime!
The Knicks up by 3. 10 seconds left in game 5. Maxey fires!